I see that we are I see on the School of the Heart, we are there. Let me, okay, it's on. So we are on, and let's.
Bree, can you please check connection? The live button on the top left in my screen, it keeps blitzing in and out.
We are also live on
Unified
Okay.
Wildlife.
Okay, wonderful.
So I think everything
I
is.
think we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
And our translators, I think, are all in place, sharing and starting to translate.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Welcome back to the bridge, our beloved friends from all over the world, as we have today a record of 8 languages to show. And today we really have a stellar team of guests led by Drunvalo Melchizedek, the master who brought the most important meditations to humanity, and heart meditations and the sacred geometry meditations that include the heart Merkaba. Drunvalo, through his Melchizedek consciousness, is basically working with all mystery schools of this planet, and he is connected continuously with the Ascended Masters. Then, Agati Chris, already known to you from our last episode of The Bridge, she's the master teacher that is directly working with Drunvalo and the Ascended Masters and transforming in feminine way the ancient teachings of heart imagery. She's a leader of the School of the Heart and also a teacher of Heart Math organization, working closely with the EMF knowledge and being part of some of the biggest projects of this planet. For example, the Solar Impulse project that happened 3 years ago. And finally, our dear Daniel Mittel, and master teacher and the custodian leader of the School of the Heart, and also author of 4 books. One of them, The Journeys into the Heart, co-authored with Drunvalo. Daniel is a wonderful teacher of humanity, and he taught more than 300 Awakening the Illuminated Heart workshops and more than 1,000 imagery and journeys into the heart workshops all over the world. He trained 165 teachers of the School of the Heart and was part of the teaching team with Drunvalo for ATIH teachers. Daniel has basically a global spiritual experience working closely with Tibetan, Taoist, Sufism, and Hesychast traditions. And without further ado, I'd love to introduce to you our friends Agati, Daniel, and Master Drunvalo Melchizedek. Welcome.
What an honor to have you on our show today, and I'm so grateful for your presence and your knowledge and your wisdom, and how you have contributed not just to my evolution but to the evolution of consciousness all over the planet. So I'm honored, deeply honored to have you, all of you, on the show today. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you. Okay, who's starting?
Nobody wants to go first.
Yeah, it's such a powerful moment, and just the lead up of us, coming together. It was truly it didn't seem like it was planned by any one of us individually. It feels like that we were all doing our thing, but it seemed to have come together and coalesced. And for us to come together, we have conscious technologies that actually help people, and we have knowledge that is coming forward, especially with everything that's going on with COVID. Everyone's at home watching, and people are actually coming into their space, and because they're now in the space of their walls, it's like there's nowhere else to go but in. And that's what I found. And by even us we're all going through the same thing, and we're being called to do something that we, what's our highest joy? There are some people out there who are not experiencing joy, and this is one of the reasons why we've come together. And through your teachings, I came across the ancient secrets of the flower of life back in 2008 during a depression I was having, very quiet depression. I didn't tell anyone, and I healed amongst the trees and in nature. And I looked for patterns in nature that actually brought me back to self and into inner happiness. And when I became happy inside, others actually feel it. So if you could speak into that too, how does that outer and the inner, how it all kind of interrelates with one another? Kind of like a toroidal field somehow.
Well, I could say something, I guess.
Please do.
We are connected in ways that I didn't even know about until the last 5 years. And we are everybody in the entire universe is all connected as one living being. And we can show this in the last book we're going to come up with. We're going to actually be able to show or prove it that is true. And so all these other ways that you were just talking about are they're real. And if you could just find any one of these ways and focus on it, you can see the reality of it. And this is the only way we're ever going to get back to a balanced earth or whatever that's going on here, is when we connect from within our hearts. And then we'll know exactly what to do. We won't have to mess around or anything else. We'll know precisely how to do it, what to do, and we will, you know.
Wow, thank you. Any questions that you have, like Michael?
We-
Do you have, or actually, go ahead, Agati.
I was gonna say that because it's a rare occasion that John comes online and live, Drew. Everybody's been asking, you know, so many things, and they have so many questions about what is John doing? What is John doing all this time? How is that happening with whatever is going on in the world? What are the news of today? And because we got a pre-peek before we started the live, and it was so you know, many interesting information.
Well, we are going through incredible changes right now, and the governments have decided not to tell you. They're just not going to. They literally made it illegal to talk about some of these things, and until recently, they've changed, and so we're just beginning now as a planet to begin to understand what is possible. It's just really a different world. We came from a world where the fastest thing in the universe was the speed of light. And so all communications, everything else that goes on is only with the speed of light. But now science knows that there is something a little faster. It's so much faster that there is no number you can come up with. The original mathematics were it was 20 billion times faster than the speed of light. And that's a little faster. Even if you came up with 900 billion times faster, it's way too slow. It actually, what science knows now is that something called the Birkeland currents, actually, the moment they are, oh, great.
He's in demand.
These are the lives.
Yes.
I don't know how to turn it off, but I'll take the batteries out.
Like a boss.
No, nobody can find you, Drew.
Except here.
The Birkeland currents, the moment they are released, they not only go from point A to point B, so they can go across the entire universe that we know, which is 13.8 billion light years across. They can go across that instantaneously.
That's without a battery.
What's going on?
Somebody is trying to get a hold of you.
Yeah. They're like, don't talk about the Birkeland currents, but he's going to talk about it. While he's doing that.
I think it was the part that said the governments don't want you to know, and then all the phones are ringing at the same time.
With the batteries out.
It's a business here, so and they're not working here today, but we didn't think of that. Well, everything else, but we didn't think of that.
Yes.
Okay, I'm back. The Birkeland currents not only go from point A to point B in 0 time, so they can cross the entire 13.8 billion years instantly, but they go spherically up into the bigger worlds, the bigger and bigger and bigger worlds of with the gold, thinking of the golden mean, and they go down into the quantum worlds that are as little as beyond anything we could even imagine right now. They go everywhere, all at once, and this has been around forever. And so a lot of life in this place, you know, when we're looking out for radio signals coming from other planets traveling at 186,200 miles a second, that's like crawling. And who's going to use it? For what purpose? Unless it's close by. Uh, but the Birkeland currents connect everybody in the universe together right now, instantaneously. And this is what we are about to realize as a human race. We're going to learn how to do this and how to be connected. And when you are connected, things are possible that are not possible before that. Actually, we can do almost anything as long as there's a consensus in the universe, and there is if we're all connected. And so this is another whole thing. It's not going to come out for probably at least another year in this, but it's here. It's here now, and it's really important to understand that we are about to change. And the Birkeland currents are not technology; they are natural. They are an absolute natural way of creating things. And so, but we have on another level. That's a really positive thing for me. That's you want to know what I've been doing the last 5. See, I did my last workshop in May, I think it was, of 2015. So it's been about 5 years, and I didn't know what I was going to do either. They said, "Just wait. We'll tell you when you go back on, but not now." And so I have been doing meditation like I have never done meditation except in the very, very beginning when I was just starting on all this, and I was like meditating all the time. And so I'm spending a long time in meditation, and it's the only way anybody can understand and actually make it real. They have to go in and do it. You can't read a book and say, okay, here's what you do. Well, that's not doing it. So you have to be able to actually do it. And this is what we're looking at right now. For those of you that are connecting in from the School of Remembering or any of these other schools that are connected to this, there's, just lost my train of thought. I'm getting old, you guys.
Oh no.
The body is, I'm not.
Yeah, you're getting younger.
and I feel young too, but my body, I'll be 80 in January. So
wow.
It happens to me. I get a little slow sometimes. So I don't know where I was talking about.
You were saying about the schools and how they're connected, and I think you're going to, you know, the knowledge of the heart and how that can prepare people or of truly realizing, you know, oneness and the connection with divinity inside your heart, and then from there.
Well, this is yeah. I wasn't actually going in that direction, but that's a really good direction. I think that what from the questions I'm getting, and I wasn't getting any questions from anybody until I signed my contract a couple of weeks ago, and now I'm just getting phone calls and everything coming in. Can you answer this question? Can you answer this one? And so it's there. There has been a shift. It's been huge. It's been fast. It's almost instantaneous, and the world is beginning to alter its course. I don't think it's going to really alter its course until something happens in the heavens, and this red star appears. And when it does, that will instantaneously change everything. And then what we talked about in the second volume 2 of the Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life, where the women will take over the power of the planet, because they're going to do it, because they're going to gain a power that men don't even understand. They don't really. Some men do, but not very many. Most of them really just don't understand what are called subtle energies. They just don't get it. And but this is this is there are certain things that are happening that we need to look at to understand how big they are. The first one, which has been, you don't hear a word about it hardly ever, maybe in a certain science channel or something, but the geomagnetic field of the Earth is undergoing transformation, massive transformation. And it's in the process, they believe, of changing from the North Pole to the South Pole and reversing itself. This doesn't happen very often. I studied this for 200, back into time, 250 million years. And the number of times that the poles have shifted, the magnetic poles, have been dramatic. It happens all the time. But where they switch poles is very rare. And but it makes sense because this moment that we're in right now has never happened on Earth before. It is really different, and it's about to change everything. The magnetic field, when it does change, is going to be a rather dramatic experience for us. Probably, no human being has ever experienced this before. Our DNA is only 230,000 years old, and it's been a few 100 million years since the last time this took place. And so it's, or I don't know if it's been that long. It's been many millions of years. I don't know if it's been many hundreds of years or not. So this is, and this is why it's so important for us to be aware of our biomagnetic field. We have a magnetic field almost identical to the Earth, except it's much smaller. And it's and for those of you that know the Merkaba and what came out in there, it's what we call the omega sphere. It's way out at about roughly 60 feet out around you in diameter, and that field is the way to really connect in. If you want to know what Mother Earth is doing, it gives you direct connection to her. And even more, what we don't know is that every single human being on Earth has a biomagnetic field around them, and that biomagnetic field is laced into the geomagnetic field of the Earth. We are connected to the Earth, and through the Earth's magnetic field, every human being on Earth is connected together right now. And if you begin to do work in the meditation of that, which is what we were doing when we were doing Cosmic Grace, you can not only see it, you can sense it, you can feel it, and this is probably one of the best ways when we really begin to have this tremendous urge to be all connected together. This is a very good way to start the whole process. There's other ways. There are other ways that we're not, humans are very diverse in what is possible through us. It's even like in the Ascended Masters, there was a little over 8,000 of them that used the technique that we have in Awakening Illuminated Heart. Only 4,000 something of them actually did that, and that was the reason why that was chosen to present, because we know it works. The Ascended Master's life knows it works, and it works perfectly. There are many other ways. There's some that only one person has done and nobody else has done. There's hundreds of other ways, but they aren't as proven as much as the one that we presented in the Awakening Illuminated Heart. And so it's really important for us to know what's in the Awakening Illuminated Heart and to understand it and to begin to live it and breathe it, so that we're prepared when these changes come, because the changes, when they do come, are going to be really, really, really fast. The magnetic field will change in 24 hours or less. And all of a sudden, water will be turning in the opposite direction in your sinks, and the blood will be circulated in the opposite direction in your body. and everything will begin to alter into a new reality that's going to last for almost 13,000 years. And though I don't think we're going to be here that long, I think we're going to leave this place long before
Yeah.
that.
You know,
And
it's interesting. You talked about change before we came on live. I got to notice something different about herself, and I noticed it too when she pointed it out. She said, "My look at my eyes." I'm like, "Oh my god, they changed color."
My eyes today, when I look myself in the mirror, were a different color. So
They're
they're
usually
bluish.
green.
Usually my eyes are dark green. So I've been telling Kumara, I have the card underneath my pillow. I've been taking, the CBD oil every day. Everything is changing around the world. I wonder, if all these energies are.
This is not Agati.
Yeah, it's not
let,
me.
let me explain it. This is not Agati.
But it's so interesting, the manifestation, like actual manifestation of the changes that are happening today. That it's.
yeah,
But Ramolo, you are telling us about something very important, like if we don't change, we might not have even 10 years left.
I was about the oceans.
And the ocean and the
that's
water.
science.
How important is this for people to understand?
Well, it's been announced publicly. The oceans of the world. I guess I should maybe explain something first before we say this and why this happened. Uh, the carbon dioxide that we are creating, we know how much we're creating, and it takes 20 years for that to rise up to where the ozone is and starts eating the ozone. It takes a while, and we knew that the carbon dioxide was going up there, but then when we measured what was up there, only about 50% of it was up there. And so this was at the turn of the century. Now all these people were going, well, where is it? Where is the other half of the carbon dioxide that we've released? And it took them about 3 years to figure it out. And then they found out it was in the ocean. And at first they all said, oh, okay, now we know where it is. Everything's okay. Not exactly. The ocean levels of carbon dioxide are now, the ocean levels have never been recorded at these levels for 100 million years. And so we're now in a place where the oceans are very similar to the way they were 100 million years ago, which probably means that almost all the life in the ocean is going to die, except for things like the great white shark, which have been here for more than 100 million years. And they're used to it and they can make the adaptation. But this is a big deal. This is a really, really big deal. So now it's in the ocean, and it's changing the pH, it's changing everything, and it's forcing fish to breathe carbon dioxide. And nobody really knows at this point, but recently, and this was only a month ago, I think, that the geophysicists of the world said, well, we have something important to tell you. And that is they believe, this may be not going to happen, but this is what they believe. They believe that the oceans are going to completely die. No fish, no nothing in them, just water, within 10 years. And I've just talked to one of these people who knows a lot about this, and they say it may be as quick as 5 years. They don't know. Sometime between now and 10 years, the ocean dies. We can't live once the ocean's dead. We will die very quickly behind that. And so we have definitely a limited amount of time to be able to do what we need to do. Now we're going to do it. I know that, and I'm cheating because I knew before he ever got here that we did do it, and we made it. We made it. We just squeaked through, just like yeah, and we got through, and we were able to do everything that we were supposed to do. Another thing that I talked about in the Flower of Life series a long time ago is that when we get to this point, because Mother Earth told me this a long time ago, that she will not let us go. We cannot go leave this earth. We have messed this earth up so bad. So we messed it up and now we're going to go somewhere else and mess somewhere else up? No, she's not going to let us do that. We're going to have to get to the place of consciousness where we as a humanity are able to create things on massive scales. And we will do this. But one of the things we have to do before we can leave, she won't let us, is we have to clean up this planet. Clean the oceans, fix them, fix the atmosphere, fix everything like it was a long time ago until it's healthy again. And then we earn the right to be able to ascend to higher consciousness. Because without doing that act, we can't. They just won't let us. And so there are big changes between if the magnetic pole goes to zero at that time, then we were probably also going to have a physical pole shift. It has always happened. Every time there's been a dropping of the magnetic field where it's not just weak, but it really goes away for about 2 weeks. That's all it takes. There's a rock formation around the world that turns into a liquid, and the surface of the earth begins to move, which we think is that's a pole shift. That's when mountains go up and down and really big things start happening. I hope we're done with this before that happens. I think we will be. And the other thing that's going on is what's going on the sun. And the sun is what's causing all these climate changes. That it's humankind is doing a lot of the changes through their automobiles and the things that we're doing, but the sun is way more in charge than us. And the sun is about to I don't know how many of you know about Ben Davison and his work with the suspicious observers. You can go in suspiciousobservers.org and you can begin to see and go back in time if you want to read a lot of the stuff or see a lot of the stuff that they're doing. But in the last few months, they've come to a conclusion, which is the same one I came to last century, in about somewhere in the 80s, that our sun is a hydrogen sun, and it's the simplest sun there is, and it creates light by taking two hydrogen atoms and puts them together and makes helium, but then the helium stays there and it starts building up, and after about 4.8 billion years, the helium is reaching critical mass. It's already beginning to trigger. But there is a point where it really does it and it explodes. And Ben Davison is now tracking that and saying, this has happened before. It's not new. They can prove it. And what it is, the sunlight, the sun flames that come off of this explosion go past the earth. We are engulfed in them. And we are supposed to know what to do. Right now, at this minute, I don't think we have an idea what to do yet. But which means that we're gonna learn a lot really fast, because we're gonna get to the place where we not only clean up the earth, but we're gonna be able to survive this explosion that takes place. And they can see it, like on the moon, they see melted sand all over, turn it into glass. It's all over the place because the flames went right past the moon too. And I know that's so outrageous, so crazy, but if you start looking at what science is looking at right now, they're realizing this. How can we possibly survive this? We can survive this by actually doing what we've been talking about. We become one with the universe, and we go into higher consciousness. And when we do that, there's a way that we can link with everything, and we can do things like put a bubble around the earth that will not allow us to die. And the thing doesn't stay forever. It just goes out way past Pluto and everything else, and then comes back into a thing. So I don't know how long it's up there. It's probably a few days. We couldn't even take 1 minute with this if we weren't prepared. but we're going to be prepared. And we're going to do everything we have to do.
That's right, and create new ways of being, right? And it's just
Oh, yeah.
again, we're at the bottom of the hour, and I just wanted to mention that yeah, we did come together. This is a new, I would say, configuration that we've come into. And for those of you out there, just a little bit of an interlude here, is that you'll notice some of your screens that you'll see some logos in there. You'll see uh, the force field where Michael and I come from, and we have our, the Bridge show every Wednesdays. And, like last week was our first simulcast with Agati to our audience, to the School of the Heart. And this time it's with Awakening the Illuminated Heart. Teachers, and then we have Unify simulcasting with us as well. So, yeah, Awake TV Network, big thank you for allowing us to, do this. And as well, big thank you to Daniel, Agati, and of course, Drunvalo. When we feel things from the heart and when we have an intention, it's like, hey, you want to do this? And then we're like, well, yeah. It just your beautiful heart, Drunvalo, is when you're like, yeah, okay. I remember when I first called you 3 weeks ago, and you said, well, tomorrow's a little too soon. Can we wait a little bit? I said, yeah, I wouldn't do that to you. 2 to 3 weeks out. So here we are. And so I just want to give that a minute there, and I want to bring it back to you, Drunvalo, to you're talking about the sun. I think we are talking about some kind of fusion or hydrogens.
Yeah, it goes from hydrogen to and two hydrogen atoms make helium, but the helium builds up, and then the helium atoms comes together with let's see, four. I can't remember. I think it's 3 helium atoms, and it makes carbon. The most this sun can make is iron, and that's what happens when the helium goes out. We become a different kind of sun, and we can start creating the rest of the elements, and it's a whole new life cycle that begins to happen. This is really exciting stuff to me, and if you just don't go into fear and know that you're interconnected with all life everywhere, and this experience is just that, it's an experience, your spirit is going to live forever. There's never been a time when you haven't existed, really, and you're going to always exist beyond this universe. You'll still be alive and conscious, but in different ways. And so there doesn't need to be any fear about this. It's better to just look at it like a child, wow, what's going on here?
Yeah, speaking of wow, I've been seeing slides about water, and water is a conscious being, and the experiments that Dr. Masaru Emoto did, and soon after he had passed away, there's other researchers. We're going to have one of them join us at a later in 3 episodes, and 2 actually next week we're going to have someone who specializes in water and taking pictures of
a really good movie coming out of Russia.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, I don't know if you've seen it or not, it's the best water film I've ever seen on water.
Do tell, please.
I have a copy of it.
May I ask you a question? My experience lately is an intensified attempt of nature to communicate with me. And whether it's my level of consciousness, but I feel that the messages that are being sent towards me apply to me as the microcosm, but they also apply to the macrocosm. And so is there a more intensified attempt of nature to communicate with us as human beings? Or is it our level of consciousness?
Nature wants to help. They love us. That all of us, every single last one of them, even the worst person we can imagine, nature loves us all. They know that we're going through a polarity understanding about that. We're going to lose the polarity pretty soon. We're not going to have it. We're going to be in singularity. And singularity exists in the center of every planet, every star, every galaxy, every black hole, everything. But the one place it is also, it's inside of every living heart. There's a tiny space in there where the polarity right in, when you're in that space, there's no polarity and you're in singularity, and you and God are connected together intimately. It's you don't have to worry about anything. You just, even you, if you just trust in the universe will give you everything you need. All you got to do is ask, and it'll do it. It really will. It's seriously, it really will. You don't even have to believe it. You just have to do it, and make the connection with life, and whatever it is you need, or you feel like you need, will just come to you in ways that aren't even logical. It just will.
Our thoughts are so powerful.
Yeah, our our thoughts are powerful, but the heart is, the images of the heart are even more. If you create an image in a heart, and then and your heart is connected through the tongue and into the brain, and the brain is actually functioning the way it used to long time ago, then the brain will act in for the heart to be able to create the image that it's holding. And I'm just holding an image where this whole planet goes into peace and love, and that we find it just happens. It is part of our heritage. It's what we are. It's what we do. Right now, we're in the middle of this polarity thing, and we got, everything is polarized right now. It's polarized like crazy. That's going to snap out of it at one point, and we're going to say, "What were we doing? Why were we doing all this crazy stuff?" It's just because it's the timing. But we don't have to worry. Uh, you know, it's like the saying of, I can't. He was one of my teachers, and I can't remember his name right now. But when he said, "Don't worry, be happy," that is a huge statement. He didn't speak for 20 years, this teacher, and then one day he had 2 million followers, and he says, "I'm going to talk, in a week from now for the first time," because he was using a chalkboard, and then that time comes, and so people all around the world, 20 million or 2 million plus whatever, all their friends and everything, they were all sitting here glued to the screen, and he came out on the screen, and all he said was, "Don't worry, be happy. I don't need anything else," and walked off. And it's really true. If you just don't worry, then your heart knows how to bring love forth, and things get easy.
Mm-hmm. Would you be able to provide us and the viewers maybe a little heart space meditation, even a brief? Yeah.
I'll do anything you want. It's okay. That's what we did the last time. Is I took them into the heart space. How much time do we have?
Eternity.
Yeah, we're timeless. We're timeless. But I'll nudge. I'll nudge our. We'll
Well, I
tune
mean,
in.
to do that takes about 20 minutes.
Oh,
15,
okay.
20
All right.
minutes.
Or maybe you can describe.
We can do the other one, the short one.
Yeah,
5
sure.
minutes we've done before, Drew. We just connect the Taurus with the Taurus of Mother Earth, and we do a network with all people who are watching.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That was a very short one,
do that.
really good meditation. We've done it 1 hour ago with all 7 of us.
Okay. All right. Okay. So you want to do that one? Or you want me to do it?
No, you do it. No.
Okay. All right. So if everybody gets into a place where they can sit with their back straight, don't touch the back of your chair. Get straight, and or you can lie down flat if that is just don't fall asleep. And so let's close your eyes and just breathe for a moment, a few breaths of breathing in and breathing out. It doesn't take very long for you to feel your connection to life in doing this. And so the first thing you do is be aware that you have a magnetic field that is around your body that is, depending on your height, it's somewhere between 55 and 65 feet. It could be even more if you're taller or shorter, but it's approximately 55, 60 feet, something like that, in diameter. And it goes, and it's a torus, so it passes the it passes right through your breathing tube and comes out the bottom, or actually it goes out the top and comes in the bottom. And so that magnetic field, a biomagnetic field, is the result of your heartbeat. Every time you give a heartbeat, there is a magnetic field that is created right from your heart and begins to expand out. And and then every time you have another heartbeat, there's another wave right behind it. So there's all these waves that are apart from each heartbeat, and they all go out till they get almost to the end, and then there they die. But it leaves a standing wave magnetic field around you all the time. If you just begin to study that and breathe with it and understand it in your meditation, it is the key. It is one of the primary keys to how to really connect with everything with everybody in the on Earth and everybody and you can use it to connect from there to go to everywhere. Now the Earth also has a geomagnetic field, which is really big. It's huge, and but everybody that's on the Earth has the geomagnetic field passing through your biomagnetic field, and they link. Stanford has proven this. They link together, and so what? So now you know that you are connected to Mother Earth's magnetic field, but everybody is, whether they know it or not. They are connected to the Earth's magnetic field, and at this moment, everybody that is breathing this and seeing it and allowing it to take place, you are connected with every living human being on the planet. And further, you're connected with every living thing on the earth. And this is the beginning of the connection where we are going to go eventually to all life everywhere on every level of existence. And we're going to connect with them. And this is going to be the beginning of a whole new level of existence. And humanity, over 4,000 something human beings, are on the next level of existence already. They left there in the late, about 1995, 6, 7, and they stayed 6 years there. Half of them came back to be with us. So they know where we're going. We are going to change positions from the earth to another level of existence. We're not going to do that now, but we will, and all you need to know right now really is your biomagnetic field. You could put sensors on your biomagnetic field, all the senses that you have, the touch and feel and smell and taste and hearing, all these things in your eyes, the light. You can, with your intention, put them on the outer surface all around your magnetic field, and it will enable you to sense in ways that you never knew you could. And people do this all over the universe, and there are other ways that make it even better. But this is easy. It's right there. You already have it. All you got to do is start meditating and understanding it and living with it, and your meditation will change completely to something much more intimate with the earth and all the life on this planet. Once you are in that state and you really understand it, then you can begin to communicate with everybody on the earth. And if enough people begin to start communicating with the people on the earth that they love them and there's love all around us, it does not have to be fear and hate. That doesn't do anything. All it does is just make the worth. More people, more pain, doesn't bring anything into balance. It's useless. Let it go. and just stay in love. Don't worry, be happy. Don't be concerned about anything. Just stay in your heart and know that the universe is going to take care of you and you won't have to worry about anything. Your ascension into higher levels of consciousness will happen automatically. It's the grace of God that this takes place, but it is the grace of God. And so let's just take a minute, a couple minutes. I know we don't have a lot of time, but let's just take a couple minutes. I'm not going to talk, and just feel your magnetic field around you. Feel it flowing right through your body in a little tube. Now, without letting go of that feeling of that magnetic field that is connected directly to your heartbeat, if there's anyone else in the room with you, feel your magnetic field connecting to theirs. This is another thing that has been proven by Stanford. When anybody is whenever your magnetic fields overlap, which is you're within about 120 feet of each other, they start doing that. And then you'll find that your heartbeats, after a little while, begin to beat in unison with each other. You begin to empathize and feel what they're feeling. It's communication. It's beautiful communication. And we have it now, and everybody has it. It's a really good place to begin. Okay, I know we don't have a lot of time, so I'm giving it back to you, Kumar.
Thank you, Drumvalo. That was beautiful. I really felt that apparently there's over 1,000 people just on the Awake watching. I don't even know with the other networks, but we're synchronized, and there's a power of synchronization. And an image that I got was like ley lines of the earth as within, so throughout. And we're there. I felt an electricity like from the magnetism. It's really interesting if you can speak into that.
Well, it actually takes like 100,000 volts for the magnetic field. The 100,000 volts has to be flowing through you, and we don't know it, but it does. Every breath, we're using a huge amount of electricity is flowing through our body, and you just need to get familiar with it, get to test it, and then start connecting in with the earth. You'll find that there are millions and millions and millions and really hundreds and hundreds of millions of people already connected out there. It's part of their meditations. And if you go out there, you can feel them. They will come to you. If you say, "Where are you?" Wow, you'll see them. It's an amazing world, and we don't know anything about it hardly at all. So, and when we're done here today, the people that are doing this, if you then go into meditation more and go deeper into it and connect with the earth, you'll begin to see how easy it is. The next time you do it, you get better, and you can even go up high into the higher levels of the geomagnetic field, and you can see everything that's going on. You can feel it. It really is an important part of us that we need to remember. This is the time. Remember it now, and life will get a lot easier. And stop worrying.
Thank you for that.
In life, trust in God. And all these people that say they're religious and they don't really trust in God. If you do, then life gets beautiful and easy, and it's a way out of this. There's other ways they're going to be presented to us because of the ascended masters are working with us now, and just by doing this, you are connecting in with a very large amount of ascended masters that will begin to help you. Okay.
Thank you for that. Can you speak a little bit about waveform? Because I'm trying to wrap my head around what waveform actually is.
Okay. Waveform was invented by a man named Bob Dratch in Colorado back in the mid 90s. And he actually coined the word waveform. He put it into a book that they copyrighted and everything else like that, and told how it is. Through him, I learned a lot, and he was able to do things that you just can't hardly believe that you could do from science until you actually seen it take place. But if you had a glass of water sitting in front of you, and you were able to take a waveform of that glass of water, then what you would capture, it's electromagnetic, it's digital, and you would capture an invisible glass of water that has the glass has the same precise number of atoms with the same mistakes and everything else in it. And the water would be the exact same number of molecules of water it would be precisely the same. And we are just one step away, which I think it's already happened on Earth. I'm just about certain that you could duplicate things. You could just take a car, take a waveform of it, poof, you got another one, works perfect. We don't need to go into manufacturing or creating anything. We can use waveform. Waveform looks differently. It looks like a sine wave signature, but a sine wave signature is usually we see it as a little line. But it still is moving in that kind of way, but it's much bigger around. It's like a bigger thing going around. And the surface is extremely complex. It's almost like the surface of the Earth, where you have trees and rocks and all kinds of things on the surface. They're all there. And all those things that are there make up what makes up that glass of water. It's a very complex thing, and it's constantly changing. We have learned how to do it, and you do it using Tesla coils and waveform, and that way of doing it has been used around the world. Though Bob Dratch has the copyright on it, and the CIA also has the copyright on it now, but it doesn't matter. These are things you can use in your meditation. And so if you really want to know what something is, like okay, I'll just tell you a little story, okay? There was a woman in Sedona here. I'm not going to use her name because I didn't ask her. And I just saw her, though, after 15 years. I just saw her about 2 weeks ago. We were talking. And Bob Dratch invented a machine that would heal almost any disease in the world in 2 minutes. And cancer, 2 minutes, and it's gone. Usually, unless it's really, really, really bad, it might have to do it 4 or 5 times. And so she came to me, and she had a tumor in her stomach the size of a football of cancer. And the doctor said, we can't do anything about this. It's too big. We can't get in there without breaking it, and it'll go all over your body. So there's nothing you can do. So she came to me. She'd been in my classes, and because I talked about it in there, that we have a light. It's just a little light that you shine on the area, and it penetrates right into the body, and it changes it kills the cancer cells very rapidly, 2 minutes. So the first day we did it, she went back to the doctor, and the football that was about this big went down to about half size.
Wow.
So we did it again, and it went down further in size. And she went to the doctor each time. And he says, I don't know what you're doing, but this is impossible. Cannot happen. Well, it does happen. And, uh, and then she got down to where it was about the size, a little smaller than a golf ball. And she had to leave. She says, I can't help it. I got to go. And I says, well, you can use your Merkaba and the things that you know and you were taught so that when I turn this light on right now, this is right after I got done using it for her, I says, I'm going to go through it again and you memorize how, tell your Merkaba to memorize how to do it. And so she did. And then she had to leave. And then she went out wherever she had to go, but she couldn't come back for like a month or something. And during that time, she would go into meditation and see the light going over her, and it completely went away. And it has never come back in 15 years.
That's amazing.
It's a
So,
true story.
so this is a light technology, correct?
Oh, yeah, it was based on Royal Rife's stuff, but Royal Rife lied. He told the truth in every single thing, but when he said what the frequencies were, he gave 6 or 7 of them. They weren't. He made them up. We know that for sure, and he never told the truth of what they really were. And so what we found, he probably wrote it down on a little piece of paper and then lost it or something. But he put ones what he put in his book were not true. In fact, the person who first did that, he killed over 800 people using those waveforms because they are not the ones that he actually originally found. So we could see that he moved them all mathematically the same amount. We moved them back to that place, and then we actually had his waveforms, but they were not Royal Rife waveforms, which had been made illegal in many states, California, a lot of them, you couldn't even use them, and because they thought they made cancer, and so
it's very specific, apparently, and obviously that a specific frequency will either be resonant or disharmonic.
Well, the thing is I realized that when we had 100 doctors doing this around the United States using these machines, and they found out that it would either cure it within 2 minutes or maybe a second time or so, and or it would do absolutely nothing, just nothing at all. So it looked like a miracle or thing wasn't working. And so that's when I did my work on what I was seeing from them and what the waveforms were. And I used sacred geometry to determine that there were actually 13 forms of this. And so we made a light that had all 13 of it in it. And we could just take anybody. I don't care what your problem was. You shine the light on and on. And so, and 3 days later, we were arrested by the FBI.
Wow.
And they didn't really arrest us. They never arrest me. They just come in and slap my hand and say, you can't do that. You can't do that. And we said, why? And they said, well, because the United States needs a certain number of people dying all the time or we can't stay alive. It's the exact opposite of Canada, which the better they can do it, the cheaper it is for them and the better it is. But we need people getting sick and dying. They had the cure for cancer a long time ago. They won't use it. And they can't because how if everybody lived a long time in the United States, how would they be able to support keeping them alive through Social Security and things like this? We have to rethink everything. We have to rethink everything, and we're going to change the world completely. And we're going to have the ability to change the world, and we're going to make it so that there's no more illness. We don't need food to eat. We have everything we need really easily, and that's just makes us comfortable. But it will also raise us in consciousness, and we'll begin to see other things that are more important.
Yes, and you've gone into so many technologies. Can you speak on other ones that you might have been involved in or come across? I'm very curious.
Oh, I've been involved in a lot of technologies. We've got free energy machines going that have been going for 20 years. We've got a lot of things, but they won't let us put them out. They just won't. I have to signal to some people trying to come in the door. it's they just can't. They, they I might have to go do this. Next time.
They
Oh,
really
no, they got a
want you.
key. Okay, I can go. Okay, just set it on the ground and I'm okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. All right. I'll try next time. I'll try to seal everything up. I don't know how to do that.
Okay.
So, where were we? Where were we? We were. Oh, what were we talking about right before that?
Technologies.
Technologies,
What?
yes. Technologies.
Oh,
Different
technologies.
yeah.
But did you,
Oh man, there is so many things. If the secret government has spaceships right now that can go anywhere in the universe, just about, and can pass right through solid rocks and everything else because they're using all of our technology that we know, and there's the technological world is amazing, but we can't. They won't let you use it. It's just like I had another friend who invented a free energy machine that you can put into a little suitcase, a little tiny one, and he studied, and that's when they would allow you to study free energy. You could do research in labs and in colleges and everything. But the United Nations made a law that nobody knew, and that is that you couldn't go into manufacturing. So he made $30 million worth of patents on this whole thing. He bought a manufacturing plant, set it all up, and was going to sell these things for $700. So you just take your house and unplug the thing that comes from the city, plug this into it, and now you have electricity for forever, as long as that machine doesn't get stolen or something. And and it will literally go forever. And the moment that he got the things running, the police came in, handcuffed him, took him to jail, and shut down the thing because you can't go into manufacturing. And they put a gag order on him, and then they removed the gag order after a while. And he sent me a copy of the law that nobody has seen, and it's about a quarter-inch thick, and it basically says exactly that. No matter if it comes into over-unity generators or 0 point, which some people call that, but that's not a good name because that's temperature. It's not. There's other over-unity generator or free energy or things like that. It's a little better. It's easy. I've seen 42 of them. They all work. And there's a new one just being put out right now that is extraordinary. It really is. And he's having trouble for the same reason. And so, I don't know. Yeah, there's lots of things, but the thing is this: we don't need it. And in the Vedas, 5,000 years ago, they talk about this, and this is really important to know. They talk about how we're now, when we are here now, and how we're going to be flying around in metal boxes, and we're going to learn about electromagnetic fields and all these kinds of things. He says, and we get really into it, and they're talking about us right now. And then they say that a single day comes along, 24 hours, where we all, every one of us, realize that we don't need this stuff anymore, that anything that you can make a machine to do, the human body can do it without it, no matter what it is. And when we realize that, we just throw the stuff all away and say, okay, well, that was toys to a kid. And now we know we're on another level of consciousness, and we're going to keep going. Because just being able to do anything is not what it's really all about. There's more. When we get into higher levels, we're going to realize that people cooperate in ways to do things that are just beautiful and make beautiful life. And and eventually we may come to something even more than that. I don't know. I'm still on this other world trying to figure it out. And they sent me down here, and I guess there's something I need to know here. And so I'm trying to learn everything I can. But don't worry about anything. If you can just stay happy, you'll find that your life gets easy and everything comes about easy. It's a huge secret, and it's a really important.
And it starts off from simplicity, right? That's what I That's what I feel.
Yeah, it's really simple, and as soon as you start worrying, then you go into fear, and you go into fear, you're helpless. And this is what all the governments want us to do. They want us to be in fear because they can control us when we're in fear. They can't control us when we're all happy, running around having fun. They can't do that. We got to be in fear, afraid of stuff, you know. And so we got the coronavirus out here, getting people more in fear. If we all suddenly just went out of fear, coronavirus would just disappear. It wouldn't even exist. It needs fear to feed on fear.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have a lot to learn really fast, and we're going to do it. And I'm going to put out 2 more books that I hope will make things go faster. And I'm not sure when they're going to come out. The first one with Awakening Illuminated Heart should be able to be done pretty quickly, and we may be able to get this up and running as an ebook in maybe 3-4 months. I don't know. We're going to try to do it really fast. And when that comes out, then we're then going to put it in 19 more languages digitally, so that when you have these specific 19 languages, it reaches 98% of the world. And we couldn't do these things until just recently.
Wow.
And,
well, as what's happening right now as we speak this is being translated in 7 languages. Correct me if I'm wrong, Daniel.
yeah, well, it will go out a lot farther than just those 7 languages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Especially if you have German and Japanese and Chinese also, I think.
Yes, hours after
you have
this.
Arab?
Yeah.
Is it going out to the Arab world?
Unfortunately, not yet, but we'll have on the recording. So we have 7 languages simultaneously at this moment.
Yeah.
But on the recording, we're going to have many more. And I hope that Arabic will be one of them.
Oh, yeah. Well, we can't forget anybody.
No one's to be left behind.
Everybody is our brother and sister, and we can't let anyone go. We have to help everybody. And at one point, they're going to realize they're being helped, and they're going to like it. Anyway, I have to take a time check. Where are we at? I don't know.
We're at 10 past 1. Yeah, we can. If you need some more time, please.
Oh, it's up to you. Ask a question. I don't know.
Daniel, you've been quiet.
Some questions.
Well, I'm listening.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
You have so much
did you
to
try this? All of us, we slept with it and this. So both these things, we tried all of them. And
I just received mine yesterday.
yeah.
But Kumar had another one, and I had that one, and I didn't know what it did. And I had no idea, so he says it blocks EMF waves.
Well, it
blocks
harmonizes.
EMF waves.
Harmonizes.
It changes the water in your body.
Yeah.
And this is important. Let me say this about that, because I did research for a long time in the late 90s, and I discovered a team of scientists in Florida who had done massive work on this. And what they found is that the water in your body is either structured or unstructured. Yeah. And so what's the difference? If it's structured, it has all the outer electrons. It's a complete water molecule. But if it's missing one or more of those, it's unstructured. But what this team scientists found is that wherever you find disease in your body, wherever it is, the water that surrounds that disease is unstructured. And wherever you got healthy cells, it's always surrounded by structured water. And that's what this thing does. In order to get you so you aren't affected by electromagnetic fields, it structures all the water in your body. And so that in itself, it's going to, eventually people are going to realize that this is starting to heal everything. And so this is a really good thing to have. And I can see why the airlines, they bought 90,000 of these things or something.
18,000.
Because what it does, the other side effect is is that, and we discovered this, my wife and I discovered this because my wife got in an automobile accident and it's hard for her to sleep all night long. Ever since we had this thing, she started sleeping all night long. And she goes, I never sleep all night by myself. I don't ever, this never happens. And so we finally figured out it has to be this thing because she was putting it behind the bed. And so then Kamar told me, oh, well, we know that it makes you sleep all night long. Well, I didn't know that. I'm one of the guinea pigs that found out that it's really true. And this is an amazing thing. This would help people in all kinds of ways. But the part about structuring the water is, for health reasons, is really extraordinary. And I know you don't have to say anything about it, but it's really extraordinary that it does that. There are other things. Slim Sperling made these coils that you move your body and bring up down your body, and it would also structure all the water in the body, but it wouldn't stay unless you had the coil there. And it's the same thing with this probably. If you remove this from your field, it would probably, maybe, I don't know, if it permanently did it, then this would be one of the most amazing things ever on earth. And it might, I don't know. But if it does it, what it's doing right now, it's worth the price. It's worth probably.
Yeah, the beautiful thing about it is all made from biological materials, so it's good. It's okay to touch on your skin. But anyways, go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, no, I can feel those kind of things. And then Daniel wanted to know about the flower of sunlight, CBDs. I've been studying CBDs for over 10 years, I'd say, and I was going by what they would sell me, and I couldn't find any changes in my body at all initially, and until I discovered, I mean, the ones that had 50 milligrams, then they got up to about 350, thinking that was better. Then I found a place that had 1,500 milligrams or higher. And that, when I started using that, I could actually feel the difference. So CBDs need to be in a high level. And Daniel did the right thing. It's at 1,500 milligrams. And so I just started taking this 4 days ago, so I can't tell you right now if it is, but you've got the right product with the right thing. And so by what I know, it should work. And
you told us something that was very interesting about hemp and the Chinese chart.
Oh yeah,
that was so interesting, and I think that lots of people don't know about that.
And I think even Jesus used it. He used
Jesus definitely. I was making the oil that I made. I had to research what Jesus was doing, but Jesus, there were in that part of the world there were over 200 formulas. And Jesus' formula was a little different than most of the other one. 50% of it was marijuana. This is not you're smoking it. He was putting it on your feet, and along with frankincense and myrrh and a whole list of other things, and he put it on your feet. And I don't know about the healing effects of that or what, but that's what was going on. So there was another part to this. You wanted to know
the Taoist hemp, that big map with.
It's really important. Now you can buy this map. It's a poster. The Chinese have been studying plants for about 10,000 years or more, and they have condensed it into a poster. One poster, and it's this poster about, I don't know, it's 3 or 4 feet across in a square, and then in there is a circle that's around the outer side, and then they have plants listed all the way around that one circle, and then the circles go inside, and each circle has plants that go all the way around, and they're in between 2 other layers. So the circles keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until finally there's a little tiny circle in the middle that's solid. And in that plant is where cannabis is. the ancient Chinese considered cannabis the most important plant on earth, period, over anything.
What I heard is that cannabis is actually also one of the oldest plants on the planet in its botanical origin, and so for it to having survived billions and billions of years through the transformation of our planets, the wisdom within it is really anchored in the plant.
I don't really know the answer to that question. I do know that marijuana puts out more energy than just about any other plant in the world. That's how they can see them from helicopters way up in the air, because they just use infrared, and they're glowing in the dark. And but still, what I want, somebody showed me this from Japan, so I don't have one of these things, and he told me about this, and it does the circle that's directly around it. I really want to know what those plants are, because those are the ones that work best with marijuana. And so if somebody could find a copy of one of those things and just send me a digital photo, I would really like to have that.
So this could be an invitation for our Japanese translator at this moment. Anybody there that has this information can send it to us, can send it to the School of the Heart, and we can pass it.
It's not in Japan, it's in China.
It's Chinese, yeah. It's Taoist. I heard when I was in China, the Taoists were talking about that map. Yeah, we will find it.
Yeah, he was saying that in Chinese medicine, it's used in lots and lots of ways. So there's all kinds of combinations going out from there, the strings of things. I don't really understand it, but I saw what he was trying to tell me, that was for sure.
Yeah, I wanted to acknowledge a question that came in a while back. Viewers asking for the name of the movie about the water, which you mentioned.
Well,
what's the name of that movie?
That movie was made in Russia, and then it was sold to Gaia Inc., and then they redid it again.
Oh, I see.
And so I would have to get their permission.
Okay.
But I don't see why they wouldn't let it go, because they've been letting everybody else see it. I think you can even go on Gaia and see it. But when there's one thing in there, you talk about science, one thing they show that you gotta hear this. This is so crazy. They take 2 beakers of water, in a lab. It was about a couple quarts or something, kind of big, and they're separated by about that much space. I don't know, 1.5 inches to 2 inches away from each other. And then they put electricity into one of them. They ground it and put a flow of electricity moving through the water. And this thing happens. The water with electricity, it goes up the sides of the walls and then makes a little bridge and goes straight across to the other one, and then goes inside that one and begins to charge it up in the same way that it is.
It didn't want to feel left out.
How does water go across nothing? That's it's in the video, and they show this from a scientific point of view. And water is really conscious, but I had a long discussion with Dr. Imato on this, because he was saying that water is the source of life. Mm-hmm. It is one of the sources. There are 5 platonic solids. Each one produces the fire, earth, air, water, and chi. And then the last one is where they all came from, which is void, nothing. And okay, see what I mean? I forgot where I was going on this.
The platonic solids.
The platonic solids.
Oh no, the platonic. Well, these, okay, I know that. I know okay, I got it. uh, but I had a specific thing I was going to say about it where
each of them produces life. Each of these 5 atoms.
Life is produced. Originally, they said it came from pools of water and all the amino acids and all these things got together. They don't believe that anymore. They know how life is thing because they're creating life in labs right now, and they've been doing it since about 1920 or somewhere around like that. And there was a guy who came in and found out that the only thing you need to make life is water, a rock, and a little flow of electricity through the water. And they pick certain rocks like granite with crystals in them and stuff like that. And I watched that research that they were doing where you put the rock in there and the rock goes from just a rock, nothing happens for about 2 or 3 months. And then all of a sudden on the surface of the rock, there becomes an etching of something. It could be a frog, it could be a little insect or something. And the etching, and then over time, the etching gets more three-dimensional until finally it actually comes up and starts crawling around on the rock and swimming in the water. And if it has wings, it will fly away from the water. Mm-hmm. And they did this with hundreds of things. And we have, the Russians also discovered something called Vavilov centers. There's 13 it was Vavilov, a Russian, that discovered these. There's 13 centers in the world, places where every single day things come out of the ground that are never been seen before, ever, by anyone. They're brand new. And they stay there for a while, and then they might just go right back into the earth again. And I sent a team into Peru where they had to go through a long ways, and I had experts in there like on orchids and all kinds of other things, and they documented the fact that they were seeing things everywhere that were never recorded anywhere in the world before, and that and so he brought back they were an orchid that had never been recorded ever before, and they brought the actual orchid back, and so life doesn't need anything but electricity and water and some minerals, and that's it. You can and when I went in with the Mayans, and we went into a cave that was 28 kilometers long, and we went back into this room where this was the room where they say they emerged from deep inside the earth, and they came out there, and what I saw, you saw like iguanas, full size in the room, like somebody carved every little tiny detail on them, and monkeys and things. But you saw a lot of these Mayans where their faces were coming out and their hands were starting to come out, and they just didn't make it. And Don Alejandro Cerrillo, who was the head of the Mayan people at that time, had climbed up on a 15-foot ledge and was telling us how all this worked. And he was sitting on a ledge that had water and electricity running through it. and he was telling us how where they came from and how this is. This is what all the 555 tribes that are in the United States and the 55 tribes that are in Canada all have the stories of where they came out of the earth, out of the center, not the center of the earth, but out of the earth, and then came onto the earth and walked on the earth. There's so much we don't know, and when we really do know, it's going to be a lot more interesting than anything we ever thought of before, because so much stuff has been learned and then thrown away, and we can't use it, and all these other things. But we're going to come to a place where we're going to be able to connect directly into all life everywhere, and we can know anything that anybody knows anywhere in the universe. We can know it, and be able to use it. And so our evolution will go a lot faster, really fast.
Wow. I just got a message that a lot of the viewers don't want this to end.
Drama,
Well,
you
so
really have to
informative.
tell to all the public about that was very important what we spoke before the show, the 144,000 people that reading the book and they don't know actually what's going to happen,
Okay,
but
well,
they will have the key there in the book, in your next book, and that's important for people to understand.
yeah, the last book I'm going to do, I believe, which is going to be The Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life, Volume 4. First volume 3 will come out. And that one is based on brand new information that I didn't even know existed when I created the Awakening Illuminated Heart. And since then, I have learned huge amounts of information that is going on, and it's all around the Birkeland currents and plasma fields and what is actually happening in the universe. And so what I now know is that the streaming, like when the sun has a CME and it sends an energy field down to the Earth, and we know the Earth because she starts making the aurora borealis and aurora australis at the North and South Pole, and well, what that is sexual energy from the sun to the Earth, and she's responding to it. And so she sends them one going back that way. They get from the sun to the Earth in 0 time. They now can measure that is fact. And when she sends it back the other way, it well, I don't know if they know that or not. They know for sure the one coming from the sun does, but it should be get also back there in 0 time. And there is so much information that is going to be coming out, and when you realize that this information can.
Oh, he disappeared. Oh, I think he
Oh
ascended.
my God. I guess it wasn't for.
Well, you know what? He
Somebody
actually
cut off.
he
That was important. What drama?
oh my goodness! You know what? That's a teaser then.
To
you
be
know,
continued.
but we can stay on for a little bit. You know, I really want to, you know, thank him. I'm gonna thank him. You know, if he doesn't come back on.
Okay.
But I really want like what's happening tomorrow, the next day. I'm excited because I'm gonna be taking your course and then a teacher training.
Sure.
Can we mention?
Just a moment
Okay,
before
I'll let you
we
do
go
that.
forward to that.
Okay.
I have a feedback that some of the images are not displaying correctly.
Uh-huh.
So maybe we need
Oh, it's because yeah, just give me a second.
Yeah.
Just keep talking while I reset the screens.
For sure.
Okay, so Dramulo was explaining something very, very important that we were talking before the live show, and it was related with the fact that the information from volume 4, so it's going to be volume 3, the ancient flower of life, and volume 4. And volume 4 is containing an information that is going to trigger in 144,000 people on this planet a specific energy that they will know at the right time what to do.
Okay.
Okay, Drew, you are here.
Somebody knocked my little thing off. The computer just went dead. No electricity.
Oh.
Okay.
Suddenly we lost you. So you were talking.
And
Just
suddenly
all of a
we
sudden the
gained
screen
you
went
back.
black, and I was what?
That's what we said. We're like, what? Anyways.
So I think our scenes again they need to be switched or correctly, Kumara.
No, there's a bit of a delay. So it's gone back to its original position. We're good.
Okay, so what were we talking about?
So you are saying about that there is something in volume 4 that is going to trigger in 144,000 people.
Oh yes,
Something that, and they don't know about it, but these people will help the humanity.
the information. What it took me 5 years to figure this stuff out. You can't reach you. A human being needs to be able to stream Birkeland currents. And evidently we knew this a long time ago. because there's writings out there, if you find them, where they talk about the human body as a mortal coil. And that's what it is. We can generate electricity on very high levels. And we're I know where we're at in that right now. Everybody is streaming, but only out to the omega sphere, and we can't go any further. To do that, the only way you can generate enough electricity to do that is through sexual energy. So it's tantra that has to be used in very specific ways, and you have to connect it to your heartbeat and all these other things and all this stuff. And there's one of the first things you do is, once you understand how to do it, is you breathe in such a way that your breath goes into superconductivity, and you're just making it's breathing so fast it's like going by, you can't see it, and it allows you to be able to do things that normally you couldn't do. And that enables you to be able to go through the other steps that you couldn't do, and you can. And anyway, I realized that this is probably not very many people are going to be able to do this, because it really takes concentration and focus and be able to do it. It takes a while to be able to understand what's actually going on, and so, but then. In fact, so much so that the angels at one point told me not to do it. They said, "Don't put out the other book on Birkeland currents, because it's just going to make it more complicated." And what they got in the Awakening the Illuminated Heart is all they really need. But now they're telling me differently. They said, "No, we need to do this, because there are certain people on the earth that when they see this and read it, they're going to go, 'Oh, that's how you do it.'" And they're going to use it. But these people are written down in the Great Pyramid, by the way. All their names are written in this. They found a new room in the Great Pyramid quite a while ago, but they've never told anybody. And it's a cube, perfect cube, and it has little tiny hieroglyphics in it. So there's katushes, or people's names, and there's 144,000 of them, and they're all from all over the world, from all kinds of. They're everywhere, everybody, everything, and it's just the white guys or just this thing or something. No, it's really everyone, and so they're realizing that the 144,000 people need to know this, and who knows. It could be just a little grandmother sitting in a rocking chair, and she may be the exact person that needs to know this, and you would never know that she needed this. And so they say that they believe that all 144,000 will get this, but the other people, when you read it and have it, you're putting it into your memory bank, and you will be able to use it the moment that you die. Or ascend, either one, however you work. If you ascend, the moment you get onto the other level of existence, the fourth dimension, you would be able to use that information immediately.
Wow.
I'm going to do it, God willing, inshallah. Yeah, I'm going to put it out, and that one's going to take a little longer, but this first one is going to be pretty quick. Wow.
Well, you three in particular, I really want to honor the three of you for holding down that kind of work, to just be patient with us people and stick around. And, you guys are teaching, really important things.
Yeah.
And people are ready.
The illuminated heart is really important for a lot of people. That's why I know the last time when we did this with the Flower of Life, we did exactly the same thing. When I came out with the volume 2, it said exactly how to do the Merkaba, only a mechanical one, but a Merkaba. In the Awakening Illuminated Heart, you're connecting the brain and the heart together in this way, and these beams of light come out of your head, and when you do that, you're able to. The Merkaba comes on automatically. You don't have to do anything; it just happens. And it's permanent, instantaneously. You don't have to wait 2 years or anything. It's just you're there.
So it's
And
different. Like from the ATIH, I remember this. You know that.
we were
Yeah.
we were
Do you still
beginning
do that?
to teach that because that was one of the stages I had to have in the whole thing. But you have to have your beams of light out. That's easy. Almost anybody can do that. I don't know why it's so easy, but it is. It's hardly anyone that can't do it. And but the the new one with Brooklyn Currents, we haven't. I mean, if I hadn't have had these 5 years off, I couldn't have come up with this. It took so much information and practice. Oh my God, just a lot of practice to be able to get the energy where it actually breaks through and goes out. I can stream now hundreds of millions of light years from a human being, and we all are capable of doing this. There's nothing I can do that you guys can't do too. It doesn't matter. It's just getting to know what it is, and so so we do have permission now to do this, and so I'm kind of excited because it's going to be hard for me to put this into words, but I'm going to do the best I can, and it'll go out and it'll work.
No, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Daniel, you held that card out. It was beautiful. I never got a chance to see it. Flower of the heart. Now, I remember that Agati that came in, what, 3 days ago or 4 days ago? We were doing tech testing. And then I said, didn't you get your shipment yet? She goes, yeah, we did, but Daniel got it. And I'm like, well, it's quiet in the house. Like, did he leave? She goes, yes. I'm
We
like,
got
oh,
the shipment, but we all fell asleep.
he went hiding with them somewhere.
Took the
But-
cards and left without giving me mine.
But
Please, no domestic violence
no.
over those cards. There
Two
is
or
enough
one, it doesn't
for
matter.
everybody.
If he gets it, it's going to go to you. If you get it, it's going to go to him.
I know.
That's what we were realizing, because she went back to. I gave her the card because she needed to sleep, so she went 17 miles away to our other house, and yet I was still sleeping just like I had the card with me because I'm connected with my magnetic field with her, and so.
That's amazing.
And we're going to learn a lot of things, I think, off that. But that card that's a really good gift to the world. Really, it's a really good on you. It's a good thing.
For me,
I think
it's
I
also
I spoke with Dramolo and you, Kumar, I think a few days ago. Since I got this, I have these plasma beings. They are coming to tell me about the window. So I'm like 2 in the morning going to the window, and they say, no, your window, the time window. So I'm okay, time window.
So what they say about it?
They say we are in a time window, so we
Oh yeah, we are.
to do what we have to do.
The Mayans said the same thing. We're in a window of time. It's called the end of time, and it started at a certain moment. It's going to end, and when it ends, everything just changes just like instantly after that. And but it's not happened yet. The blue star came, but not the red one. We're still waiting for it.
Dramolo, we got thousands of questions for this live show. What's coming from thousands of people? What is going on, for God's sake, today with this planet? People are worried, and I'm telling them we are going to make it. You want to tell them again?
Oh, definitely, we're going to make it. I mean, this is the males that in the last less than 13,000 years of everything they did for a long time was, if they weren't there, we'd be dead. But then in the last couple thousand years, since about Jesus, it's been getting more and more and more convoluted, and until we got a person like Trump in there, which is just insane. But he's the perfect last male person to, because there'll never be another male person, I don't think, that ever has a chance to do this for about 25,625 years from when this thing shifts. So it's going to be a long time. And but it happens even with the female. When the female takes over, they will take over, and they will come in with their hearts and they'll fix everything. They'll make everything perfect. They'll throw money away, and they'll figure out new ways of nourishing people and everything else, and it'll be great. Uh, but
And it will be great.
I mean, it'll be great, but it doesn't last very long.
But
It should last 1,000 years. This is what the Bible talked about, 1,000 years of peace. But we're going to leave while we're in the middle of that. We're going to get out of here.
Okay, and that's that's one of the many questions that are coming in with regards to your take on COVID, the riots, the protests. Like, can you speak?
This is all this is generated by people that are on the dark side, that really want to cause chaos everywhere they can. And it's okay, let it go. It's part of it. But you're going to see when this shifts over that all the male institutions, banking systems, insurance, everything you can think of like that become meaningless. We don't need any of these things anymore. And it's a whole new world emerges that's simpler and easier, and we can feed all the world, and we can do everything without having to worry about it. It's just, but that's not the end game. That's just the first step into that new world, and it's there now. Most of the world is already in it, and there's a few places like this that are still trying to get out of the material world and learn how to live with just love and energy, and we haven't figured it out yet. But the COVID-19 is, again, it's our fear that's pulling these things in, and also realize that a virus is a polyhedron always. It's a geometrical, three-dimensional geometrical pattern, and they are alive, but in ways that we can't quite call them alive, and so I think that the Mother Earth is bringing these things in to try to get us to see another way, and so this has been very interesting to stay home. I mean, I stay home anyway, so it doesn't matter. I don't work anymore, so it doesn't change my life much. But again, don't worry. Just let all that fear go. And the sooner you let the fear go, the sooner you're going to find that everything is okay right now. This is one thing that I've said from when I first got here, and it'll be the same when I leave. Melchizedek order knows, Alpha and Omega order of Melchizedek knows, absolutely for certain, because they exist in every place in existence. And there are places where there's nothing in there, and they still are watching that all the time. And that the universe is, what they say is, the universe is absolutely perfect. It is whole, complete, and perfect now, right now. With all this stuff even going on our planet here, we said this can't be perfect. This is a mess, but it's not. It's moving exactly the way it's supposed to, and we don't have to have this feeling that we have to change the world to make it better. Though we do have to do this one thing and bring the world back to into health again, because that's something we said we would do, and we have to do it. But other than that, we don't have to do anything, because what is occurring naturally is all that it takes. We would automatically learn how to do these things with or without someone like me coming in here telling you that there's something like a Merkaba. We should have remembered the Merkaba. We lost it. I don't know why. I'm not really sure why we lost it, but we lost it. So it's back now again. And that's all you need. You just need to know the Merkaba and the relationship of the Merkaba to the heart. and after that, don't need a thing. And,
I have a question.
Okay.
There's a
waiting for
course.
your question. What is it?
There's a course coming up tomorrow and the next day. Are you gonna be there too to like teach us, or is that?
So we are teaching imagery, Dramolo.
Where are you going to be?
Imagery. But Dramolo knows imagery very well. Actually, he
Yeah,
was
I mean,
connected
my question
with
is
Coletta
he
Bulcher Muscat in
Oh, okay, all right.
Jerusalem. So Dramolo is one of the imagery master.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, okay, that's.
I'm still learning. I don't think I know as much as she does on this, but I have learned a lot, and I've learned a lot about imaging and Birkeland currents. This is
Wow,
if
interesting.
Colette had known about this, she would have just giggled and laughed for hours, I think, because it makes it so easy. It just makes it simple, and so you can just bring this image out of your heart, bring it into thing, and stream out, and it becomes reality. You can't do anything with your Merkaba that's going to harm anyone, anywhere. It won't let you. And so whatever you do has to be something that is good for all life everywhere. And at that point, you have total freedom.
I got goosebumps on that one.
You know, Drew said something very beautiful. He said, image the world from your heart. And this is how we create a new world.
Yeah.
A beautiful world. And it's so simple and it's so beautiful and it's so powerful at the same time.
And without even looking at my other screen, I can feel people. Their question I could feel is that how long is the course for, and how can they find out?
The Awakening Illuminated Heart?
The one coming up tomorrow.
We have one next week. We have another one, Awakening the Illuminated Heart. It's going to be online, which is a different experience, but it's still very powerful. Awakening, very important. Maybe the most important workshop on this planet today, I would say.
Okay. I was going to say something. Went away again.
We're talking about imagery.
Yeah. Well, again, the way that she teaches imagery was 6,000 years old, and it was human beings trying to figure out how to live in a natural way, and but now that we know, or what this new way is really simple, easy, fast, and definite, especially in terms of anything we need. We just have to image it in our heart, breathe through the Birkeland currents, and there it is, right in front of you, whatever you need. And so it's going to be a lot easier. I'm just worried about we've got about 52% of the world is living on $1 or $2 a day, and thousands, 25, 30, 40,000 babies a day dying of no food, starvation. I know that we can't fix the world without fixing them first. And the whole world learned this when we did the Rio conference I don't remember when it was, in the 90s or something. And for the first time, all the world got together and said, well, we got a problem with the climate change. We need to do something. But no, they were like a bunch of kids and teenagers and things. They didn't know what to do. They just got together and things and started talking about it. And it took several weeks before they finally could see, okay, we got to do this and we got to do this. But the bottom line shocked everyone. And that is, you can't clean up pollution. You can't clean up the world if you don't clean up poverty. Mm-hmm. You have to give them a life that you would want, that people would, with a home, and kids can go to school and have whatever they need. And there's no reason. The secret government, we've talked to them, and I'm being told right now that they may actually do it. I tried to talk them into it a few years ago, about 10, 15 years ago, that if they just give away half of their money, they wouldn't even notice it. They wouldn't even know it happened. I mean, they own 85% of all the real estate in the world and 85% of all the money in the world. And so what would change? And they thought about it for a couple of months and they said, no, we're not going to do it. Well, I'm talking to someone now that's deeply involved in this, and it's looking like they may actually do it, but not in the way that they're just going to give it away. They're going to do it somehow. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but they're going to do it by healing everything, using massive amount. I mean, money. If a project needed $100 trillion, no problem. It's just no problem. And so we're getting permission to do these things right now. And so we may see things getting better really soon. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah, and there's lots going on. You know, besides the riots that are on the forefront, there's other concerning issues too. Like, you know, people are talking about 5G and all that. And that's what got me into force field.
5G is another real problem. It really is. 3G was a problem, and that started killing all the bees. And the 4G really accelerated the whole thing. Let me just run some facts by you. You remember all the boats that go out? What are they called? Not ferry boats, but the boats that bring people, cruise liners. The cruise liners that are all around the world, and we found that in the cruise liners, they started getting very high levels of coronavirus. People getting it and getting sick, and that was the first time. And then we saw the Navy ships, the big, huge airline, the aircraft carriers, and they're starting to get shit. Well, both of them, all those cruise liners installed 5G on there right before they all got sick, and so did the warships installed 5G on there, and that's when they all started getting sick. And so did what is it, Wuhan or the where.
Wuhan.
Epicenter in China.
Wuhan.
They installed it just a month or so earlier. They had 5G in there, and it started getting sick. Personally, I think 5G is extremely dangerous for all life on this planet. And they not only have to make it way stronger, they have to put the towers closer together so they get every square inch of the planet. And all that really, the only thing that really wins in this thing is the military and the corporations.
So while those technologies roll out, I feel it's very important to develop our inner technology as well as, you know, solid state technologies that are out there that could be anecdotal to begin with, but if people are having benefit, then I would say that would be something. Would you agree?
Yes. I think you should do anything you can do to make things better, either through physical labor or something, or creating a business or anything else. If you can make it better somehow, do it. But we can learn inside who we are. We don't know who we are. Hardly anybody on earth knows who they really are. And if you could just understand who you are, and the best way I know is what the Ascended Masters did, is to go through the understanding of the awakened illuminated heart. Do the things that you have to do. Get into your heart. Bring that energy back through your tongue. The tip of your tongue is connected directly to your heart. You might not know that, but it is. And there's a sac that goes around that, and it goes up in here, and it comes out, and it becomes your tongue. And so that's why in a lot of meditations like Kundalini or something like this, they put the tip of their tongue on the roof of their mouth. There's a certain split place there, and they rub on that and stimulate it, and it goes up through a thing to the thalamus, and then the thalamus in between there is the pineal gland nestled in the middle. And you can begin to open those channels up, and then you open up the third eye. But But in the Awakening Illuminated Heart, you come back and sever the brain's connection to that and reconnect the heart's. So the heart is seen through the third eye. And at this point, a glow, a golden glow, a halo appears around your head. And you're really beginning to really do it. And it's just takes time, and you have to stay focused. And this may be the most important thing you could possibly do right now. Going to parties and hanging out and getting stoned and everything might be fun, but it's not going to help you when the times come and you're going to really need to know who you are, who your own self is, and who your spirit is. You need to know what it is and what your connection to all life everywhere is. You've got to know this. And if you know it, you'll be fine. If you don't know it, it would be really hard. But if you don't know it, what we do know is that there will be some people that will go on directly, very quickly to this place we're going. There's a whole array of differences in the earth depending on your level. But some of the levels won't be able to do this, but it's already been worked out. The Ascended Masters made a whole program to receive everybody that goes through Ascension. It's in Bolivia. It's in the side of a mountain facing south. And they can process when someone dies, they can process them completely so they know everything they need to know in 15 minutes. And they can go on. And so they're going to process as many as they can in that way. But we're all going to make it. There's not one single person that's going to be left behind, ever. We can't do that because God lives in that person.
Oh.
Thank you so much. Oh my goodness, that we're at the 2 hour mark. Our 1 hour is, I think, the world's 2 hours.
Okay. Well, I think we need to close it down.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving us the extra time.
It was
Didn't really plan that.
Let me talk to everyone. And I am going to make a website pretty soon where I can't get all my other stuff is gone. It's all gone. So I'm starting over, but I'm going to make a website that will where we will be able to communicate better and everything else.
That's right. And in the meantime, a big thank you to School of the Heart, of course, Drum Below, and the Unify for simulcasting and
Unify, yay!
Yes, and Awake TV Network, and then please tune into their other shows. They have over 1,300 shows there that are very similar in terms of forward movement in the world today, higher consciousness, and I would say alternative to what the narrative is that we're hearing a lot of. There's a lot of engagement there, and this formation is like a dream come true for me. When I took your ATIH back in 2013, my life totally changed. All of a sudden, I wasn't interested in money. I wasn't interested in the whole, kit and caboodle of what you're supposed to do. It's like, well, what we're supposed to do it doesn't feel right. It's kind of like it feels separated. I just want to go into unity. Then I got into Unify, and it's like, wow, all this stuff, right? So, and then now we come together.
So I'm looking at a way to link what I was talking about before, where you're in your magnetic field, and you link to Earth's geomagnetic field, and then bringing in the internet as biofeedback, and so that you can prove to yourself and people you're working with, even though you're working on this other level, you could see the response back through the internet, and that wouldn't be hard to do. And you could do it with just small groups to see how it works, and you get bigger and bigger and bigger ones, and wow, it could be fun.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I also want to say thank you to you, Kumara, for your dedication and your beautiful soul and the amount of effort that you've put into specifically. This show today is I'm as the observer, I'm looking at you and I'm like, wow. So I bow to you.
Okay, thank you.
Likewise.
Both of you. It took two people to do this.
That's
Thank
right.
you, Michael
Exactly.
and Kumar.
Yes, and then so tune in to the Bridge. That's our show, mine and Michael's show, every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Pacific time on Wednesdays. So I will stop the live stream, and then we're gonna do a little debrief. So don't sign off yet. Anyways, thank you everyone for tuning in to the Bridge, the electromagnetic frequency and the power of the heart. May you go forward today and always with joy and happiness. Don't worry, be happy.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.